Hi, I'm Roshaunda Cade. This is Real and Raw with Roshaunda, and I'm going to talk a little bit today about my education journey. Not the whole thing, because goodness, that would take too long, but I'm going to talk a little bit about where I am now and where I want to be. Did you know I never wanted to go to college? That surprises most people because it seems like I've done all the college. I have a variety of degrees and I love school, but I didn't want to go to college. I felt school was stifling and I just was like, I'm not down with this. But not going to college was not an option. So I applied to one college. Praise God, I got in and it was the right college for me to be at. So I went there and I followed my curiosity. I was interested in English and education and Spanish and African American studies. So I studied all of those things until my junior year when I got a letter from the chancellor that said, "Dear Roshaunda, you need to declare a major." Oh, okay. So I declared an English major and everything else kind of got wrapped up into minors of study, and that was kind of my course correcting. So education is about following your curiosity and course correcting and acknowledging that learning is a way of life. And for me, that means I'm almost always taking a course or several. Right now, I'm taking a course on how to be a Christian entrepreneur, and I'm taking a course about personal development and communication. And so I'm going to talk a little bit today about what I've learned from the beautiful collision of those two courses. I've learned communication strategies. I've learned that self-talk is really important, and my self-talk is often detrimental. I didn't realize how down I am on myself sometimes, but I get into the loop like a lot of people, like, no, I can't do this. No, this isn't for me. And taking this course, well, these courses has really shown me that that's a problem that I have. And I learned that symbols of things mean something to us. So for example, um, I like to be outside, I like trees, and the symbol of a tree kind of takes me back to my childhood and my tire swing that I used to sit on and play on and throw mud in and pretend like I was cooking in it. So trees are happiness to me, but I learned that just because a tree is happy to me, it's not necessarily happy to everybody. So I've learned to acknowledge that symbols are things that are meaningful to people, and everybody's symbols are not the same as mine. I also learned about nonviolent communication, which essentially is stating what you observe without judgment and what you need to happen. It disarms both you and a person you may be in conflict with. And I've been using these three ideas ever since I started the courses. Something else I learned is about self efficacy. I learned what it's not. I really thought self efficacy was about standing up for yourself in some sort of situation, but I learned that it really means believing you can do a thing. I was excited to learn that I was wrong in what I thought it was, and to learn more about how and why I believe I can or cannot do a thing. And I learned that my self efficacy is probably about average, and I learned I can improve it. So, those are some really good lessons that I've had. I've learned about the link between my past and my present. Through these courses, I have really seen how past relationships and patterns impact who I am and how I think about myself and how I talk to people and how I just move about my day-to-day life. And I really didn't know that that was happening. I really didn't. One example is that I had somebody that I just kind of bumped heads with all the time when I was growing up. And now when I bump heads with people in that same sort of way, I kind of go back to that kid I was growing up, and I don't recognize that I'm not acting rationally. I learned this. I thought that was awesome. And I learned now that I recognize things that are impacting me, I can really control how I move forward. I don't have to stay stuck stuck in the past patterns and the past relationships, but I can take charge and be cognizant of what I'm doing and move forward in a positive way. I learned some really interesting thing about culture. Everybody's culture isn't the same. I know, that's a no-brainer. Of course, everybody's culture isn't the same, but I learned it's important to view other people's actions through their cultures rather than my own, and I never really thought about that. Oh, okay, so all of the things I've been imbibing my entire life make up who I am, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But all of the things you've been imbibing your entire life make up who you are, and your things are not the same as my things. So some things that you might do or say that I don't like from my culture may be perfectly fine from your culture. So I learned to recognize, to view people's words and actions through their own cultures instead of getting all caught up in what my culture says. And this helped me think about my own culture and the things that I've imbibed my entire life. And are those things serving me well, or are they not? So I am really learning to break down some of the things that always have seemed right and good. And most of them are still right and good. I'm not saying that they're not, but I'm saying I have acquired a way to look through a lens and separate myself from that, and to see, okay, I've learned this thing. How am I using it? How am I applying it? Is it to my benefit or to my detriment? So that's been really awesome. So what? So what? I am learning all these things and these courses that I'm taking. What does that have to do with anything? For me, it has to do with everything. Education is super important to me personally, and I want everybody to have access to a phenomenal education. My ultimate goal is to transform the American educational system. It's a big goal. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I know it'll start with smaller steps. So, a smaller step that's a goal that I have is to start a school. I have lots of ideas about this school, but one of the things is I want the school culture to be as good to the faculty and staff and administrators as it is to the students. I want us to care for them and their needs and their growth, and not just their needs and growth as it relates to what they are doing for students, but what they are doing for themselves as people. So something I am doing, right, it's not a far off goal, it's a close up goal, is I'm starting a coaching program for educators and coaches who are writing nonfiction books. And my program is to help them write their nonfiction book and revise it and have a good draft that is ready for them to go. So that's one thing that I'm doing with everything that I'm learning, because I am learning that habits and patterns impact what you do. And why do I want to help people who write nonfiction? Because I'm a writing teacher, I'm a writing coach, I'm a writer, it's what I do. But as I learn more about the habits and patterns and mindsets that affect what we're doing, I'm realizing that people who are writing works of nonfiction, or somebody who has that book in mind about all of their great experiences and the things they could teach to other people, they may have a lot of stuff in them that's keeping them from the writing. So my goal is to help them get through the stuff and to help them with their writing. I want to help them thrive, and I want to help myself thrive. So I came up with an acrostic for the word thrive. T is toward, H is her, because that's the pronoun I use, but H could also be him. R is renaissance, I is insight, V is vision, and E is elevation. So I'm going to break these down a little bit further. Thrive, T for toward. I want to always be moving forward, and self-efficacy plays a great role in that. If I believe I can, there's a greater chance that I will keep moving forward and keep going. And as I said at the beginning, sometimes it's course correcting, sometimes it's following my curiosity, but I always want to be moving toward her, my pronoun. And that's about me owning how I show up. I am responsible for her. I am responsible for my relationships and my interpersonal skills, how I show up for you, and how I show up for me. R is for Renaissance. Renaissance means rebirth. And I think that has a lot to do with our emotional intelligence and managing our emotions and seeing things in new ways. Like I was talking about, looking at somebody's words and actions through their own culture instead of through my own, being open to new things and new experiences and being reborn in new ways all the time. I is for insight, and that has a lot to do with mindfulness and being present in the moment and being open to what God has for me to learn and to do. I can't get there without insight and observing things like, okay, God, I'm in this moment. You have me here for a reason. What is it you would like me to learn in this moment? What is it you would like me to see in this moment? How is it you would like for me to grow in this moment? So I'm trying to expand my insight. And then I want to expand my vision. So I said the T was toward, always moving forward. But where am I moving forward? Moving forward toward a goal. I said I want to transform the American educational system, and I do. But right now, that's a dream. And it's good to have a dream, but it's not a goal yet. I don't know how to do it and I don't know where to start. So I'm trying to break it down into smaller and smaller things that can be achievable. And I'm using the smarter goal framework to get those goals moving. And the last letter is E, elevate. I've had a lot of educational experiences, and most of them have been very good, but not all of them. So there are things in my educational environment that I need to rise above and move forward anyway. I need to be grateful for the parts of my history that have helped me to rise above, and I need to serve others and help elevate them and get them to where they're going. And this service piece is how Thrive moves just from me outward to others. God didn't put me here just for me to thrive. He put me here to help other people get where they need to be. So, how does this apply to you? One, I hope you learned that learning is a lifetime of journeys. Everything you do, everywhere you go, is an opportunity to learn. Now, I mentioned I'm taking classes, and I will probably always be taking classes because I really enjoy that. And I encourage you to take classes or earn a degree, but also look at learning in everything that you're doing. Every step you take of every day is an opportunity for you to learn and to have a new learning journey. So I want to leave you with the question, what's your next adventure? What's next on your learning journey? How will you move forward today with your own educational journey? Thanks for listening. I'm Roshaunda Cade. This is Real and Raw with Roshaunda.